Hello everybody. In the previous video lecture, we have discussed about the bus structure of the computer. In this video lecture, we will discuss about the performance and metrics of a computer. The most important measure of the performance of a computer is how quickly it can execute programs. The speed with which a computer executes program is affected by the design of its hardware and its machine language instructions. Because programs are usually written in a high level language, performance is also affected by the compiler that translate programs into machine language. For best performance, it is necessary to design the compiler, the machine instruction set, and the hardware in coordinated way. The operating system overlaps processing, disk transfer, and printing of several programs to make the best possible use of the resource available. The total time required to execute the program is called elapsed time in operating system. This elapsed time is a measure of the performance of the entire computer system. It is affected by the speed of the processor, the disk, and the printer. Let us first discuss about cache memory. When an application starts or data is to be read or written or any operation is to be performed, then the data and comments associated with the specific operation are shifted from a slow moving storage device, that is magnetic disk, hard disk, optical disk, CD drive, etc., to a faster device. This faster device is RAM. This random access memory is a type of dynamic random access memory. RAM is placed here because it is a faster device, and whenever data or commands or instructions are needed by processor, they provide them at a faster rate than slow storage devices. They serve as a cache memory for storage devices. Although they are much faster than slower storage devices, but the processor processes at much a faster phase and they are not able to provide the needed data or instruction at that particular rate. So there is a need of a device that is faster than RAM, which would keep up with the speed of processor's need. Therefore, the data required is transmitted to the next level of fast memory, which is known as cache memory. Cache is also a type of RAM, but it is static RAM. Static RAM are faster and costlier than the dynamic RAM because it has flip-flops to store data, unlike dynamic RAM, which uses one transistor and capacitors to store the data in the form of charge. Moreover, they need to be refreshed periodically because of bistable latching circuit, unlike dynamic RAM makes it faster. Suppose that the system has cache of 3 levels. Levels means that overall cache memory is splitted into different hardware segments which vary in their processing speed and memory. From random access memory, data is transferred into cache of third level, that is L3 cache as shown in the diagram, and the L3 cache is a segment of overall cache memory. L3 cache is faster than RAM but slower than L2 cache. To further fasten up the process, cache of second order L2 cache are used. They are located at intermediate vicinity of processor. But in some of the modern processors, L2 cache is inbuilt, making the processor faster. It should be noted that it is not necessary that a system has 3 levels of cache. It might have 1 or 2 levels of cache or more than it. At the core level is the cache of first level, that is L1 cache memory. The commonly used commands, instructions, data is stored in this section of memory. This is built in the processor itself. Thus, this is fastest of all the cache memory. So, whenever the processor needs to perform an action or executes any command, then it first checks the state of the data register. If the required instruction or data is not present over there, then it will look in the first level of cache memory, that is L1. And if that also data is not present, it further goes to second and further third level of cache memory. Whenever the data needed by the processor is not found in the cache, it is called cache miss, and it leads to delay in the execution, thus making the system slow. If the data is found in the cache memory, it is known as cache hit. If the data needed is not found in any of the cache memory, the processor checks in the RAM. And if this also fails, then it goes to looks on to the slower storage devices. Next, we will discuss about the processor clock. Processor circuits are controlled by a timing signal called a clock. The clock defines regular time intervals called clock cycles. To execute a machine instruction, the processor divides the actions to be performed into a sequence of basic steps such that each step can be completed in one cycle. The length P of one cycle is an important parameter that affects processor's performance. Its inverse is the clock rate, that is R is equal to 1 by P, which is measured in cycles per second. Processors used in today's personal computers or workstations have clock rates that ranges from a few hundred million to over a billion cycles per second. In standard electrical engineering terminology, the term cycles per second is called hertz. The term million is denoted by the prefix mega and billion is denoted by the prefix giga. Hence, 500 million cycles per second is usually abbreviated to 500 megahertz, and 1250 million cycles per second is abbreviated to 1.25 gigahertz. The corresponding clock period are 2 and 0.8 nanoseconds respectively. Let us now discuss about the program execution time. Let T be the processor time required to execute a program that has been prepared in some high level language. The compiler generates a machine language object program that corresponds to the source program. Assume that complete execution of the program requires the execution of n machine language instructions. The number n is the actual number of instruction executions and is not necessarily equal to the number of machine instructions in the object program. Some instructions may be executed more than once, which is the case for instructions inside a program loop. Others may not be executed at all. Depending on the input data used, suppose that the average number of basic steps needed to execute one machine instruction is S, where each basic step is completed in one clock cycle. If the clock rate is R cycles per second, the program execution time is T is equal to N into S divided by R, where I have told that T is nothing but of the processor time and N is nothing but of the number of instruction execution. S is nothing but of the basic steps needed to execute one machine instruction, and R is nothing but of the clock rate or the cycles per seconds. This is often referred to as the basic performance equation. T is equal to N into S by R is referred as the basic performance equation. The performance parameter T for an application program is much more important to the user than the individual value of the parameters N, S or R. To achieve high performance, the computer designer must seek ways to reduce the value of T, which means reducing N and S and increasing R. The value of N is reduced if the source program is compiled into fewer machine instructions. The value of S is reduced if instructions have a smaller number of basic steps to perform, or if the execution of instruction is overlapped. Using a higher frequency clock increases the value of R, which means that the time required to complete a basic execution step is reduced. The N, S and R are not independent parameters. Changing one may affect another. Introducing a new feature in the design of a processor will lead to improved performance only if the overall result is to reduce the value of T. A processor advised as having 900 MHz clock does not necessarily provide better performance than a 700 MHz processor because it may have a different value of S. Usually, in sequential execution, the instructions are executed one after another. Hence, the value of S is the total number of basic steps or clock cycles required to execute an instruction. A substantial improvement in performance can be achieved by overlapping the execution of successive instructions using a technique called pipelining. Let us discuss about the pipelining concept now. Pipelining, a standard feature in processor, is much likely an assembly line because the processor works on different steps of the instruction at the same time. More instructions can be executed in a shorter period of a time. A usual method of demonstrating this is the laundry analogy. Let us say that there are 4 loads of dirty laundry that need to be washed, dried and folded. We could put the first load in washer for 30 minutes, dry it for 40 minutes and then take 20 minutes to fold the clothes. Then pick up the second load and wash, dry and fold and repeat for the third and fourth loads. Suppose we start at 6 p.m. and worked as effectively as possible, we would still be doing laundry until midnight. However, a smarter approach to the problem would be to put the second load of dirty laundry into washer after the first was already clean and barely happening in the dryer. Then, while the first load was being loaded, the second load would dry and a third load would be added to the pipeline of laundry. Using this method, the laundry would be finished by 9:30. A processor pipeline operation is much the same way, although the stages in the pipelines are different. While different processors have different number of steps, they are basically variation of these 5 steps. Fetch instruction from memory, read registers and decode the instruction, execute the instruction or calculate an address, access an operand in data memory, write the result into a register. If you glance back at the diagram of laundry pipeline, you will notice that although the washer finishes in half an hour, the dryer takes an extra 10 minutes, and thus the wet cloth must wait 10 minutes for the dryer to free up. Thus, the length of the pipeline is dependent on the length of the longest step. Consider the instruction add R1, R2, R3, which adds the contents of register R1 and R2 and places the sum into R3. The contents of R1 and R2 are first transferred to the input of the ALU. After the add operation is performed, the sum is transferred to R3. The processor can read the next instruction from the memory while the addition orientation is being performed. Then, if that instruction can read the next instruction, its operands can be transferred to ALU input at the same time that the result of the add instruction is being transferred to R3. In the ideal case, if all instructions are overlapped to the maximum degree possible, execution proceeds at the rate of one instruction completed in each clock cycle. Individual instructions still require several clock cycles to complete, but for the purpose of computing T, the effective value of S is 1. The ideal required value of S is equal to 1 cannot be attained in practice for a variety of reasons. However, pipelining increases the rate of executing instructions significantly and causes the effective value of S to approach 1. A higher degree of concurrency can be achieved if multiple instruction pipelines are implemented in the processor. This means that multiple function units are used, creating parallel paths through which different instructions can be executed in parallel. With such an arrangement, it becomes possible to start the execution of several instructions in every clock cycle. This mode of operation is called superscalar execution. If it can be sustained for a long time duration, the effective value of X can be reduced to less than 1. Of course, parallel execution must preserve the logical correctness of program, that is, the results produced must be the same as those produced by serial execution of program instruction. Many of today's high performance processors are designed to operate in this manner. Now let us discuss about the clock rate. There are two possibilities of increasing the clock rate are first improving the integrated circuit technology, making logic circuit faster, which reduces the time needed to complete a basic step. This allows the clock period P to be reduced and the clock rate R to be increased. Second, reducing the amount of processing done in one basic step also makes it possible to reduce the clock period P. However, if the action that has to be performed by an instruction remains the same, the number of basic steps needed may increase. Increase in the value of R that are entirely caused by improvement in IC technology affects all aspects of process operation equally, with the exception of the time it takes to access the main memory. In the presence of a cache, the percentage of access to the main memory is small. Hence, much of the performance gain expected from the use of faster technology may be realized. The value of T will be reduced by the same factor as R is increased because S and N are not affected. Now let us discuss about the CISC and RISC architecture. Simple instructions require a small number of basic steps to execute. Complex instruction involves a large number of steps. For a processor that has only simple instruction, a large number of instructions may be needed to perform a given programming task. This would lead to a large value of n and a small value for s. On the other hand, if individual instruction performs more complex operations, fewer instructions will be needed, leading to a lower value of n and a large value of s. It is not obvious if one choice is better than the other. A key consideration in compromising the two choices is the use of pipelining. We pointed out earlier that the effective value of S in a pipelined processor is 1 or close to 1, even though the number of basic steps per instruction may be considerably large. This seems to imply that complex instructions combined with pipelining would achieve the best performance. However, it is much easier to implement effective pipelining in processor with simple instruction sets. The suitability of the instruction set for pipelined execution is an important and often deciding consideration. The term instruction set for pipelined execution is an important and often deciding consideration. The term RISC and CISC refers to design principles and techniques. Reduced instruction set computing is nothing but of RISC is a CPU design strategy based on the insight that simplified instructions can be provided higher performance if this simplicity enables much faster execution of each instruction. A complex instruction set computer, CISC, is a computer where single instruction can execute several low-level operations such as load from memory, an arithmetic operation, and a memory store, and or are capable of multi-step operations or addressing modes within single instructions. Now let us discuss about the compiler. A compiler translates a high-level language program into a sequence of machine instructions. To reduce n, we need to have a suitable machine instruction set and a compiler that makes good use of it. An optimizing compiler takes advantage of various features of the target processor to reduce the product n cross s, which is the total number of clock cycles needed to execute a program. The number of cycles is independent not only on the choice of instructions but also on the order in which they appear in the program. The compiler may rearrange program instruction to achieve better performance. Of course, such changes must not affect the result of the computation. Superficially, a compiler appears as a separate entity from the processor with which it is used and may even be available from a different vendor. However, a high-quality compiler must be closely linked to the processor architecture. The compiler and the processor are often designed at the same time with much interaction between the designer to achieve best results. The ultimate objective is to reduce the total number of clock cycles needed to perform a required programming task. Now let us discuss about the performance equation. It is important to be able to access the performance of a computer. Computer designer uses performance estimate to evaluate the effectiveness of a new feature. Manufacturers use performance indicators in the marketing process. Buyers use such data to choose among many available computer models. The previous discussion suggests that only parameter that properly describes the performance of a computer is the execution time t for the programmers of interest. Despite the conceptual simplicity of the equation what we have discussed previously, the computing value of t is not simple. Moreover, parameters such as clock speed and various architectural features are not reliably indicators of the expected performance. For these reasons, The computer community adopts the idea of measuring computer performance using benchmark programs. To make comparison possible, standardized programs must be used. The performance measure is the time it takes a computer to execute a given benchmark. Initially, some attempts were made to create artificial programs that could be used as standard benchmarks. But synthetic programs do not properly predict performance obtained while real application programs are run. A non-profitable organization called System Performance Evaluation Corporation (SPEC) selects and publish respective application program for different application domains together with test results for many commercial available computers. For general purpose computers, a suite of benchmark program was selected in 1989. It was modified somewhat and published in 1995 and again in 2000. For System Performance Evaluation Corporation 2000, the reference computer is an ultra sparse 10 workstation with 300 MHz ultra sparse 3 processor. The spec rating is computed as follows. Spec rating is equal to running time on the reference computer divided by running time on the computer under test. Thus, a spec rating of 50 means that the computer under test is 50 times as fast as the ultra sparse 10 for the particular benchmark. The test is repeated for all the programs in spec suite and the geometric mean of the result is computed. Let spec I be the rating of program I in the suite. The overall spec rating for computer is given by spec rating is equal to I is equal to L to N spec I whole to the power 1 by N, where N is the number of programs in the suite because the actual execution time is measured. The spec rating is a measure of combined effect of all factors affecting performance, including the compiler, the operating system, the processor, and the memory of the computer being tested. So that's all with the performance and metrics of the computer. See you all in the next video lecture.